First thing I want to cover is there was a guy that left a comment under my video that I did called "With Time, You Will Forget About Her." And in that video, I basically talk about how, when you are liking a woman, it's very easy to get caught up in the idea that you want to be with her and that if she rejects you, it's going to be the worst thing ever and you're not going to get over it. And that I've discovered just being older that with time, you end up forgetting about the people that you once had like the world-ending crush on, And so this guy responded and said, "Rejection is fine, but when rejection is paired with insane levels of disrespect that seemingly come out of nowhere, where you were invested in helping them with their career, you thought you were friends, then after what seems like a minor disagreement, all of a sudden out of nowhere, boom, they hit you with some dumb stuff like giving your number out to a guy to threaten you and tell you not to contact you anymore. Then when you confront them about it, they lie, gaslight, and pretend like they had nothing to do with it. Then when you show proof that they did it, they brush it off like it's not a big deal, then make subtle jabs about the death." And this is a guy I responded to earlier about this woman. Basically, he'd been there for her, and then when his dad died, she wasn't there for him. And so he felt some kind of way about that, obviously. He says, "I feel like that kind of rejection is different. At the time of the incident, I didn't even contact her enough for that to even be necessary. The whole thing felt like a gaslight, kind of like when a woman pretends like you're calling them obsessively when you called and texted them once or twice." So he actually had more commentary under this comment that was very, very long. And so I didn't want to put all that up here, but suffice to say, he basically feels as though, rejection hits differently basically when you've done all this stuff for a person and the way that they responded to you was to not be there for you and to be extremely disrespectful. And to that, I say this, is that, yes, that is a higher level of rejection and it sucks and you still got to get over it. Because here's the thing about dwelling on rejection, right? Is that it builds resentment. And you feeding into this resentment that you have for this other person only poisons you. It doesn't poison the other person who's been, I think this guy said this was like 2 years ago, and he's still festering on the fact that this girl rejected him the way that she did and that she was disrespectful and how it should be that way. And his mind is trying to constantly question, how could a person that I cared so much for and showed so much love to treat me in this way? And the realistic part is that sometimes we don't get the answers to that. And your brain has to get used to being okay with that. Because what happens if you don't is you continually put out the energy of resentment, and other women you try to get with are going to feel that. It doesn't allow you to move on realistically from that situation to where you're always dwelling on it. And so you're so mad about what she did to you, you're not realizing, she showed you undoubtedly that she was not a person you should even get with. So at this point, continuing to think about that person and dwell on their rejection. And because what your brain's trying to do is just trying to fix a situation that can't be fixed. Because it's thinking, what's the logical way that I could have made this person treat me better? Why does she feel like I deserve that in the first place? And the reality is some people are just going to be out for themselves. And a lot of people in general care more about how they feel about things and worry about their own self-interest than what you have going on. So it sucks that you had to date this girl for a long time before you realized that she was not going to be there for you in the long term. But it's still better that you found that out early versus like if you get married to her and then you find that out and then you got to break up and go through the courts and go through paperwork and go through legal proceedings. Like none of that happened. But yeah, just because the rejection was a little bit harsher, it doesn't take away my same sentiment, which is that at the end of the day, you trying to continually think about this other person is only hurting you. It's not hurting the other person. It sucks to say they are not thinking about you in that capacity anymore. They don't care if they hurt your feelings. And so is it worth you continuing to give energy to a person that didn't want to continue to give energy to you? That's where I come from, because, hey, and here's the other thing too, that I think people don't realize, right? Is that she did a horrible, awful thing, right? If we are all realistically looking at ourselves, we have all at some point in our lives done something to another person that maybe we did it unintentionally, but we brought harm to them. We wrecked their world. We changed their life. And we might not have meant to have done that. We might have been thinking in our own moment, well, I'm just trying to look out for the betterment of myself and I got to get out of this thing, or I'm doing this thing because I have reasons. But we've all at some point done stuff to hurt somebody else in a way that was either intentional or unintentional, okay? And so I say it because you're basically holding on to this situation, but there's probably other people that you've unintentionally did that to, and you're not thinking about them right now because they're probably thinking like, man, I wish so and so he did this thing and he probably and you've probably gone past the incident and not think about it anymore, and they're still dwelling about it. We all been that person. We've had it done to us and we've done it to people. So I say this because I want you to let this girl off the hook. Like, yeah, you never have to talk to her again. You don't need to call her and ask for an apology. She did what she did. She's not in your life anymore. She's not thinking about you. So let her off the hook. Let yourself off the hook from having to think about her and what she did to you, and focus on women in the future that ideally are going to treat you better, because this one right here does not deserve all the comments that you've written about her on my page. Like, you've written like 3 or 4 comments now in different videos, underneath different videos, talking about this one situation, which shows me that you're holding on to it and she's done forgot about it. So that's just something to consider, that you're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting her by continuing to think about this. And I don't know if she's still in your life or not. Ideally, she's not. But if she is, you shouldn't even be keeping her around in hopes that maybe she'll change her ways or apologize to you. Like, that's just not going to fundamentally happen. All right. So yeah, hopefully that helps you get over this a little bit more. I don't know. Hopefully it does. Let's see. We got a comment in the chat that says, I had a disrespectful rejection earlier this year. I just deleted her number and off the socials and moved on. She tried to message me a month after, but I was already too far gone. You know what's funny? I talk about this extensively. To a point, but like, I talk about the fact that guys think in order to get a woman back, that they need to constantly be contacting her. Like, if she goes away or suddenly starts flaking or says like, oh my God, like we shouldn't be together, this and that, men want to do the most. And I tell you guys, if you just give her what she wants, just say, okay, cool. Anyways, most of the time women will, because what will happen is when women get to that point, usually it's like they're thinking, if they're rejecting you, part of it could be like they think you're coming on too strong, or maybe they just don't find you all that attractive, or they think that you're attracted to her because that she's their only option, that you have no other option. And so they reject you thinking that you're going to continue to pester them, or that, you're going to stick around basically. And so when you don't do that, they realize, oh, he's not needy. And then they start to miss your company. They're like, oh crap, like he was actually a fun guy to talk to, and I could kind of tell him stuff and he wouldn't judge me for it. And it was kind of nice to go out on dates, and we might have hooked up, and the hook was actually pretty good, but I was thinking I could do better. And honestly, guys, I'm gonna tell you now, I'm 41. As you get older, you're gonna find that there are more women as they get older that start to realize that they're hitting the wall and they're running out of time and they don't have much left, and they're trying to think back on, is there any guy out there that I could possibly still make this work with? And they think back to you like, oh, there's that one guy that I kind of rejected, but he was actually really nice. And I don't know what I was thinking. God, I hope he still wants. And then most guys will go in and take it back. So yeah. So that's what happens, right? It's like at the point they start messaging you, ideally, because I've told girls before, I said, look, I've told them, if you decide to leave, I'm not typically a take backer guy. So if you come back to me later, I'm probably not going to be available. I'm probably going to have moved on. Or even if I haven't gotten somebody else, I'm probably not going to put myself in that situation again. So you need to make sure unequivocally, if you want to break up, that's what it is. And I've had some girls that, they say, hey, I'm feeling okay, cool, whatever. And I go into my merry way, come back a week or two later. Well, I thought you were going to fight for me. And well, I didn't mean that. And well, at the time, I this and that. Sorry, but that's the thing. When you have an abundance mindset in dating, that kind of stuff's not going to rattle you, because guys right now that are like younger guys that haven't had either younger guys or guys that haven't had a lot of time in the dating world or haven't dated or hooked up with a lot of women, you're always going to be in that mind state of like, I have to do everything perfectly. And if she rejects me at all, I got to do everything to fight to get her back because I have no other options. And as you get older, you're going to find that as women start to get older, they have less options. You have all the options. Because like, if you're a 25-year-old guy, right, your options are like 21, 20 to 25, maybe. But most of those women are dating older. If you get 40, 41, in your early 30s even, like your dating roster still starts at 21 and then goes all the way up to like 45, 46. So you end up having more of a pick. And so as you start to have an understanding that the number of women you're going to be able to realistically try to get has an infinite possibility to it, then this one over here that wants to be flaky or wishy-washy or wants to play the game of like, well, I'm going to break up with him and see what he does. You won't play those games, and women will sense that. And you'll find it, women will start to sense when they date you that, oh, if I break up with him, he's seriously will probably not get back to me because I can tell that he thinks he has other options. You know what? He probably does. So as you get to that point, it'll be a lot easier to date, and it'll be a lot easier to not deal with crap like this. Just the two cents for you guys out there that are maybe younger and don't have a lot of experience with women. Trust me, as you become a more confident guy, as you start chasing more of your goals and your dreams, and you start accomplishing them and getting more confident in yourself, then women will just know instinctively not to try to do the whole "I'm breaking up with you" test, and will see you as more confident and more desirable as a result, you know?
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high